This is the typical camera that I use. It is about $3,000 for the entire setup. Plus you've got the microphone on top. And honestly, I'm ready to switch to the iPhone. The way that YouTube is moving these days, you want to be really engaging in your YouTube videos. You want to be constantly moving your set. The one shot setup isn't working as well unless it's highly edited, which can bring its own challenges with it. So having a camera that's like the iPhone 13 Pro that you can just move around your house to different locations to film different sections of your video is actually a great way to create amazing YouTube videos. So whether you're a pro that is tired of lugging around a big camera, or you're just getting started and already have the iPhone 13 Pro or are debating upgrading to it, I highly suggest watching the rest of this video for optimizing your shooting preferences to get set up to shoot YouTube videos that look oh so good. First things first, let's talk about the gear to optimize your setup. So one, you are definitely gonna wanna use a microphone. The microphone that I am currently using is, I believe, $85. And if I unplug it, this is what it sounds like with it unplugged. And now let me plug it back in and you can hear just how much of a difference that actually makes. I also have a GorillaPod. This is the tripod that I've been using up until this point just to be able to hold my phone out, give myself a little bit of an extra range from my face so that I don't have to hold the phone like I'm doing right now, which is a total shoulder workout. On top of this GorillaPod, there is also a phone holder. You can use any phone holder. It doesn't have to be this one specifically. That's just going to hold your iPhone. And of course, I will link to all of this gear in the description below so that you can get what you need. Now let's talk about the actual settings on your phone to maximize this camera's capabilities. Now I'm not going to dive into all of them. If you want to watch another video on that, feel free to Google it. I like to give you what you need to know and no more so that you can get up and running and not get stuck in, I don't know what that means, and so now I can't move forward kind of thing. Now I do want to point out I switched my other camera and microphone for this setup so that I could actually record my screen for this. And I will show you, I had to put these lights up in order to use this camera because this camera does not do as good of a job of exposing for the room as this one does, which is another reason why I love it. So if I was to, once again, use this camera to kind of move around into different scenarios and film a video very quickly, then I'd have to lug the lights along with it. It would just slow down the whole process. So in order to set the settings on your phone, you're going to go to settings, and then you can kind of pull down to find this search bar. You can type in camera, click on the camera settings, and for under formats, if you click on formats, the one thing I want to point out on this is that you can turn on Apple ProRes to get an even higher quality image out of this phone. Right now you are looking at Apple ProRes footage. This is going to be a much larger file size and I don't think it's essential for most creators. Okay, the next thing is record video. I like to stick with 4K at 30 frames per second. I think that it works best in low light and I don't like changing the frame rate as I'm filming just because it can complicate things once again in post-production. And the rest, I just keep enhanced stabilization on and everything else as you can see it. I turn off the auto FPS right here. Beyond the record video settings, you can also turn on this grid option that's going to give you a grid when you're looking at your camera. You can see it kind of on my jeans right there, but you don't need it if you don't want. Everything else, I keep the same, just keep it simple. The one other thing is how to turn on cinematic mode, and this is key. The way that you do that is actually within your camera app. So you go over to the camera app itself, and you can see here, there's photo at the bottom that you can see. You're gonna swipe over to video. You don't want just video, you want cinematic video. And what that's going to do is blur out the background. We'll keep it vertical so you guys can see. This background is actually blurred out. If I was to go over just to video, you can see that it's crisp. So pay attention to here, blurred out. And this is what really makes it look super pro. So you definitely want to be using cinematic mode. The last thing that I want to explain is to unlock the orientation on your phone. And the way that you do that is you swipe up from the top, this comes on, and then there is this lock icon right there, and you want to unlock that. And that essentially just is going to allow you to turn your phone sideways, and it will capture a video in that orientation rather than being locked in the vertical position. And this is because when you import that footage later into your computer, some clips might be locked in the vertical position and you're gonna have to rotate them in editing, and it's just an extra step. It's not a big deal, but if you can avoid the step, even better. So once you've done that, you are good to go from a settings standpoint. So the next thing that I wanna do is actually put this camera that we're looking at, my iPhone, into the exact same setup that I was just in with this camera so that you can see the side-by-side comparison of what it looks like. And this is the iPhone setup, and I am actually using the front camera. It can be very tempting to look at yourself while you're talking, and if you do this, it's going to look terrible. If you get distracted by looking at yourself, then I highly recommend putting a Post-it note over your face. Continue looking in the actual camera whenever you're filming. So one thing that you're likely noticing is that this is a wider frame, so you might need to adjust your background a little bit more to include more space behind it, or even like move around a little bit more in the frame, or even move closer to the camera, right? So you're a little bit closer to it. Plus, that's gonna make the microphone sound a lot better as well. So there might be some slight adjustments that you need to make in a seated talking head video style like this one, but generally speaking, I think it looks really good. What do you think? Drop a comment below. Now, one thing you might be thinking is, yeah, sure, Amanda, your set looked great because you have these professional lights. Well, you don't need professional lights. You can actually use this $80 light kit that I will link in the description below, or a $120 light kit if you want to have smaller LED light panels. I was a professional videographer, and I would show up on set with these $80 lights, and they worked very well. It's something that you can definitely use. You do not need these lights in order to make this look good, because right here, this is all natural light, my friend. It's just a window. While the iPhone does make it easy to move around your house and film videos that look good no matter where you are, it can still be very helpful to have one sit-down location that you use on repeat whenever you need to film a video, so that you don't have to deal with decision fatigue, or if you're not feeling creative and wanting to jump around your house, you can film. So if you want to set up a YouTube home studio set like this one, go ahead and check out this video next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.